on the floor at the meeting.
Great, thank you.
So we'll suspend taking a roll call. Suspend reading of the minutes. You can just go. I'm gonna go straight to number 3. Confirming the appointment of the Albany County Attorney.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cameron Sagan. I'm the Director of Policy here. We are here to request the confirmation of Jeff Jameson to the position of County Attorney. I believe everyone knows Jeff Jameson at this point. Amanda needs no introduction, but I would like to say a few words on his behalf, just as by way of introduction. Someone who knows the county very well, has served in a number of positions, from the public defender's office to the county attorney's office, serving also as director of employee relations, and of course, most recently serving as the county executive chief counsel, someone who has really demonstrated their love of this county and the people of the county as well. And from there, I'll pass it over to Jeff, say a few words on his own behalf.
Thank you, Cam, and thank you to all of the legislature for allowing me this opportunity to be here. I just want to say that sorry I'm not there in person. I had purchased this trip for my wife back in October. I did not expect this to be happening. Obviously, Eugenia retired. The opportunity came out, so the executive asked me to serve, and as I've continued to serve Albany County over the last 11 years, I will continue to do that, hopefully with all of your approval. But I appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you. I've been through the vetting process in 2016 as Director of Employee Relations, and I look for the challenges for the coming days and years.
Thanks, Jeff. Does anyone have any questions for Jeff?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Jeff, I do have a question about your resume. It says you have a law practice on the side. Are you going to have a law practice on the side, and as well as being the county attorney?
So it's interesting that I say that because I put that out there, but I can't tell you the last time that I actually did it, right? So I've done probably a couple closings for people over the past few years, but other than that, I really haven't. So I put that on there because I've always maintained that if you have your law license, you're always working, right? And you always have the availability. So in full disclosure, if somebody comes to me, a relative or somebody else, and says, "Hey, I'm buying this house. Can you do the closing?" My answer is going to be, "Yeah, I'm going to do the closing for them."
Okay, because there's a lot of potential conflicts, obviously, when you're the county attorney and your client is all the constituents in the county. And there's
respectfully, I will tell you that regardless of whether you're the county attorney, there's a lot of conflicts if you're an attorney, right? So that's why through the bar association and what you've learned in law school, that you go through those conflict checks, which is extremely important to do before you were to take on any client. So as with any attorney, you do the conflict check, and I would absolutely do that. But like I said, serious legislator Grimm, my expectation is not to take on any clients, with the exception of course, a family member doing a closing.
All right, that makes me feel a lot more comfortable because you're very highly qualified, and I've always enjoyed our interactions, Jeff, so I intend to vote for you. Although we can vote.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes, I agree with my colleague there. You are highly qualified, and it'd be a great loss for us if there are rare occasions that comes up where you have to practice law on the outside. But other than that, I see no problem. I don't even see no problem practicing law on the outside myself personally. As far as conflicts go, like he said, lawyers are all over the place and conflicts are all over. So the rare occasions you have to work on the side, you don't think it affects you as the county attorney?
I do not, and I absolutely wouldn't put either in any jeopardy of a conflict. So I appreciate your confidence, Legislator Ethier, and thank you for reaching out. We've had a great relationship for a long time, and I appreciate your confidence in your words.
So if you're confident, but I'm confident too.
Jeff, I just had a question about transition. So do you foresee the transition being immediate, or do you plan on continuing your role as chief counsel to the executive for a short term, or have you looked into how that may look shortly after the appointment?
Yeah, I would say it's not immediate. So I am assisting right now with Jordan Huban, Kevin Canizero, who's the first assistant, and other attorneys. I've had a meeting with them preliminary, dependent upon obviously the legislature approval. And then I will be meeting with each individual staff member, so that they too can have the confidence, not just in me, but the vision of the entire office. But I think that the transition, there needs to be a transition period. I do not know right now if the county executive has a person selected to replace me.
Madam Chair, thank you. Jeff, we've known each other for a long time, and I gotta tell you, I don't think there's a better person that the county executive could have picked than you. You have a history of working with everybody, which is phenomenal. I've talked about a couple of areas when we all get settled and sit down. I'd like to talk to you about, especially areas like construction, how we do our construction management and construction litigation, as areas that, you know, pop up from time to time across our sphere. But I have absolute confidence in you, and I intend to vote for you when it reaches the floor.
I appreciate that, Legislator Bergdorf, and thanks for your confidence. And it has been many years, and you know, I do believe that it's important to listen to everybody, all the elected leaders, and I will continue to do so.
Any other questions or comments for Jeff? Well, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your time on vacation.
Jeff, just so you know, tell Jeff,
We can't, yeah,
we can do this on the floor,
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
how he's going.
is that what, we can just move this stuff to the floor without voting it straight? So,
It would be done as an individual item.
all right, so this exercise isn't just, you know, for practice. It actually has, it's an input thing, and then we're able to vote later on. Okay.
So it's not the loss by doing it like.
Okay.
And we'll relay that message too. I'm sure they'll relay the message.
I'll shoot him a text.
Okay, moving on. Next item is confirming the appointment of the Director of the Department of Human Resources and authorizing a waiver of the residency requirement for said position.
Good evening, members of the legislature. I'm Michael Lally, Director of Operations. I have the pleasure of recommending confirmation for Emma Teague as Commissioner of Human Resources. After a nationwide search using a recruiter, we found Emma to be head and shoulders above all the other candidates. We are very excited about the experience, education, and professionalism that she will bring to this office. Of all the candidates, there was only one that made it to the second round for interviews that resided within Albany County. That individual was not deemed to be qualified for the position. So we are requesting that there is a residency waiver, as Emma does not live in the county. But with that, I would like to turn it over to Emma and allow you to introduce yourself.
Sure. Greetings and good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Emma Teague. I can tell you a little bit about my background. I've been in HR for a span of 20 plus years. I've navigated in humble beginnings, starting really growing up in HR, but touching every aspect from talent attraction to talent retention. In this day and time, I think a lot of people do a lot of recruiting, but I think you have to have a strategic outlook on how you recruit. The pendulum of bringing talent in, but actually preserving that talent and making sure that talent develops to a place where we can retain them and have not just a job, but a career progression. In addition to that, I've done implementation of systems I work very closely with a lot of systems based on size and capacity of headcount and human capital. In addition to that, I've also have created and documented policy and actually reviewed policies for policy rationalization. I've been very involved in collective bargaining units, and with regards to navigating grievances, trying to prevent arbitrations, and obviously trying to come to a win-win for both sides. That is going to be geared on actually what's in that contract and the timeline of that contract. I've been very strategic in engagement, employee engagement. At this day and time, we have a population of young people coming into careers, and they're actually looking for more than probably what that generation of baby boomers are looking for. They're looking for not just medical, dental, vision, but they are looking for the indirect benefits, the PTO, the vacation time, and things of that nature. So in my 20-year span, I've touched all aspects. I've developed teams, I've mentored teams. As far as trajectory, I was mentored in my early years, and so I pay it forward. So I'm happy to be considered for this position. I am no stranger to the Capital Region. I have been very involved in the Albany area, particularly on my personal life, with being an MC or being a guest speaker at various churches, community churches. I've conducted gospel choirs at the Gospel Gala, at the Black Fest. I've also been involved with the Martin Luther King March and the gospel choir. So I am no stranger to the Capital Region as well as Albany especially. I was very involved years ago, about 10 years ago, in a program called Tweak My Jobs. I might have been in this room, I'm not sure if it was this room or another room, but we launched that about 10 years ago with the hopes of navigating young people to go online, apply for a job, or even see that jobs are coming available to them. So I'm excited about this opportunity to not really change anything in per se, but to look at where we are at in HR. What's working, what's not working, and what do we need to do to make it better? Whether it's on personnel, whether it's on affirmative action or employee relations. So my goal and my objective is to come in, meet the team where they're at and see what our initiatives are for 2025 and to build upon that. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, welcome. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Impressive background for sure, Ms. Teague. It's nice to have a chance
Thank
to
you.
speak with you for sure. I've talked a lot about in the legislature, we're always raising salaries because we have to keep people. When in fact, I've always believed that the principal reasons that people stay or take a position, it goes well beyond salary. Do they like their boss? Do they get along with their coworkers? Are there advancement opportunities? Are they making a difference? Are they fully appreciated?
Right.
That's my emphasis rather than constantly raising salaries. What is your position on this?
Yeah. So I think when you look at retention, you have to look at it not in a silo, right? It's not one dimensional because everybody has different aspirations and goals and objectives in life. We know that. But you're right. There's a psyche to people where it isn't just the comp, but comp, you have to make sure it is competitive. Right. And that is how when you look at compensation, you need to do some benchmarking for reality. Right. And then you have to know the reality of what you benchmark needs to be tied to the budget. Right. Because we can't always pay what other people pay, but we need to make sure that it is attractive in some way, shape, or form. The people will leave their boss, not always a company. Right. And so what we do in that endeavor is we teach leadership development. When you can pay a person to do their job, but you cannot pay a person any amount of money for loyalty. And if people are loyal to you because you treat them well, they will go over and beyond whatever is in that job description that you have written for them. So it is a win-win across the board when you look at all of the dynamics. That has to be unpacked because it isn't always the same in every area. You have great bosses, not so great. You have great comp, not so great. You have trajectory of career progression, maybe not. And a lot of times when we are looking at people who are young and maybe aspire to get a job, they're looking to just get a job. but we have to teach them to look for a career. And that's how they stay the course. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, partly, yeah. In terms of the evaluation, you know, people get raises, standard raises.
Sure.
I'd rather see merit more of a focus. You know, if you're a good boss, then how do we make people good, better bosses? Because I think that's a big driver as to whether people stay or not.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of HR that I envision.
Yep.
Is this idea of that we reward people and we push people so they can be better at what they're doing, because they impact every employee that's there. One final question is, I often hear the county has to compete with the state. I don't think we can compete with the state. Our budget is less than $1 billion.
Mhm.
State's $250 billion. That's not a competitive situation. So we've got to approach it from the idea that we need to keep people, but if we think we can keep them from moving to the state, that's not realistic from my viewpoint. I wonder what you felt.
So when you look at compensation, obviously, if you're looking at various sectors, right? State, county, local, you might have that dynamic where you really can't retain from a competitive perspective. But the things that you can sell is how you treat people. And leadership development is key in that, right? So we teach, a lot of times we promote people because they're good at the job they have, but not necessarily proven in the job they will get,
Amen.
right? So you have to work with the end in mind. A lot of times we move them because they're great at the job, but we don't teach them the dynamic of working with individuals and the soft skills, right? Meeting them where they are with the soft skills. So I think that is a learning curve. Because if you're from the older school, you're like, you have a job, be grateful, do it. Some of us were raised that way. The younger population, they're looking for opportunities. And I can tell you, we had to go and look for a job for those of us that are in the baby boomers club. But if those of us a little bit younger, we get doors knocked on LinkedIn, come work for us. Right? And then sometimes they're looking to relocate and get into another area that may be a little bit more attractive. How do you retain talent in the capital region and Albany County? Is we have to show people what a career succession can look like, even in civil service.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Can you speak to the most significant program initiative that you've been in charge of for DEI and affirmative action?
Sure. So in my other life, I was an affirmative action officer. I actually, when you have an affirmative action plan, that usually is mandated by federal funding in some way, shape, or form. I've been doing that for 10 years before we even knew what DEI was. It was called mutual respect, right? And it was really trying to understand people who were in various classes, particularly when you're looking at Title VI of 1964 of the Civil Rights Act, that they are in a protected class. But DEI is really just understanding that we are all human, made out of flesh and blood, and we should respect people and treat them as if they're important, right? Not the way we think they should be treated, but the way they need to be treated. And so DEI is big, it's new. It's being controversial right now in conversations, right? So where are the employers today? I think some employers are stepping back. Some employers are staying the course. I think at the end of the day, if you treat people under the governance of 1964 Civil Rights Act, the equal opportunity employment, whether Black or white, male, female, tall, short, fat, small, you just treat people the way they deserve to be treated and the way you would want to be treated. You do unto them as you would have them do unto you.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah. I got
Mr.
a
Ether?
question. Where is Jen Clemens going? You know about that? This is all new to me, no, you don't.
Yeah, so
She's stepping aside.
Jennifer Clement has decades of experience with the county. The county executive asked her to lead up the healthcare consortium, which I think you all are familiar with, because she understands that world of insurance, of the county and the municipality relationship. She accepted that position, so she's going to be leading up the healthcare consortium, its creation, and then its maintenance.
When did all that take place?
Oh, beginning of the year,
2 weeks ago.
about that.
We're being hit with this now. we're being hit with this appointment now, that's what I'm getting at.
Yep,
Is there a rush for it to happen now? Is there a reason?
we don't like to leave any of our commissioner positions vacant for very long. They're vital to the maintenance of the county.
And the other thing, you asked for a waiver, I thought we did away with that waiver stuff.
Not for commissioners.
Oh, not the commissioners. No, all due respect to, as long as we do, this is something, I'll use that. That's an old thing to do, yeah. And also, I like your comments to Mert, that in other words, you'll be hiring people on merit. That's correct. Not on what they look like, all that's nonsense. It'd be strictly merit. That's.
We follow civil service law for the hires.
Sometimes I get tamed a little bit of that too.
It's pretty black and white.
A little questionable. All right, what was that? I have no problem.
I just have a question. Oh, sorry, Mr. Berman.
Go ahead. Darren first.
Just looking at your resume, it says your current employment is hybrid in Vero Beach, Florida. Is your intent to be in person, you're available to be here in person for this position?
Yes.
Okay, and then I know you don't live in Albany County, but are you in a surrounding community where, I guess my question is, you're familiar with New York State human resource law then?
Yes.
You're not from another state, you're,
No,
okay,
from the capital region.
okay.
And to expand across that, Emma did work at Schenectady County Community College,
I see
where she
that.
works under civil service law requirements.
Perfect, thank you. Mr. Burke?
I was gonna ask the sort of the location question. Something about, zooming in from, Vero Beach sounds very attractive. But not sure we're ready for it. I have a slightly different perspective than, Mark does on our competition within the region. Because we here in the Capital District are competing with all sorts of levels of government, whether it's the state, public authorities, a community college, and then we've got big NGOs. The biggest, I think, employer in the region is Albany Medical Center, with, tens of thousands of employees, and there is a lot of competition for skilled labor. And when we put together our budget, we hear it from virtually every department head. I've got 40 vacancies here. I've got 30 vacancies here. People are looking for that career opportunity. And if you take a young person today and tell them that their career is going to be based on 3% increments per year, you're not going to keep them very long as they grow professionally. So I really like the idea of creating career tracks as a retention so that people always have a goal to be working towards. And I know that's a sort of a private sector mantra more than a public sector, but I think that's one of the ways that we can compete by maybe having a better career track than some of the people that we do compete with.
Thank you, and I apologize, Mr. Coons had his hands raised here on Zoom. Jeff?
No problem. Appreciate it. So I was a little unclear about the residency remote discussion. You live now in Florida? Is that what I'm hearing?
So I live in New York and I have worked in Florida. So a hybrid opportunity gives you the flexibility of working in 2 locations by airline and remote via Zoom. And that has been really simply post-pandemic, but I am a resident of Capital Region and I'm here.
Okay. The Florida thing, I just got confused by for a second.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
okay.
You'll see a lot of, post-pandemic, you see a lot of people who work remote, hybrid. They have this flexibility. Obviously, it's more popular probably in private sector. But when you're working for a lot of Fortune 500 companies, those are the type of companies that will give you that flexibility to work in a hybrid situation or remote.
Right. Okay. So, All right, that was it. I just wasn't 100% clear on that, but I'm all good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any
Yes,
questions?
the capital region, like, you okay to tell us whereabouts in the capital region?
Sure, Niskayuna, New York.
Okay, good. And the other question, the county, you said only 2 people applied for the job?
No, we used a recruiting firm. We had, I can get you the exact numbers if you'd like that. The interviews that we conducted were with 7 individuals. Second round interviews condensed smaller to 3 individuals, and Emma was at the top of our list
Now the 7, there's only 1 from Albany County?
initially, and after interviewing, we determined they were not qualified for the position.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I believe the other item is being tabled. It was withdrawn. Withdrawn. Number 4 is withdrawn, so no motion to adjourn, so we're all set.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you the new chairwoman of this committee?
No, Lynn unfortunately is not feeling well this evening, so